I chose to take a look at Fred Craddock's sermon, Say and Do. If you don't know who Fred Craddock is, just a little history. Born in 29, died in 2016. His book was published in 71, which was about preaching. And CNN actually says, his sermons unfold like a short story. They were foreshadowing, plot twist, dialogue, languages of startling beauty and surprise endings, is the way it was described by CNN. His idea was that the text should form the sermon. In his example, he gave one of his students used Joshua when he said, "For as far as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord." So apparently the student put it into a 3-point outline, but really there's only one point. Are you going to serve Jesus? Are you not going to serve Jesus? I think this is kind of an interesting article because as a student without a lot of experience, I am looking for a formula to follow. And it actually happened to me in one of my classes. I went to my pastor and I said, "Hey, I really want to try this inductive preaching." And I kind of gave him my outline and he said, "Well, why would you want to do that?" And the next thing you know, 20 minutes later, I'm walking out of there with a deductive sermon that sounds just like something he was preaching. So sometimes it's all about who you're reading, what kind of sermon it's going to be. The other thing that's interesting is in our previous class, we were talking about sermons, and it was mostly a 3-point sermon followed by 2 points of support for each of the big ideas. Another interesting quote Craddock came out of the article was, sermons are to encourage, to challenge, to inspire, to persuade, to correct, to clarify. Really is what your sermon's trying to do. So I can see where he talks about letting the Bible preach the sermon form is really important, because you're not going to preach your epistle like you'd preach poetry. On the other hand, as a new writer, I still see that the idea of having a set format makes life so much easier. So I don't know where to find a happy medium. The other thing we wanted to talk about, one of the quotes in there is, "I want to be free," with reference to the form. That is just a great idea, but as a student, I don't know how to get there yet. With the different passages we read, I can see that there is a need, but I'm not sure how to get there. Other than that, the last thing I read was an interview he did with Ministry magazines. And what he talked about was being a new preacher. He actually addressed this. Most people will be inductive up to a certain point, and then somewhere down towards the end, you want to be deductive and explain what it all means. And I think that gives us hope as new students. Well, for me, I'm new to preaching, so it satisfies my desire to preach something that the young people will listen to and be entertained in, while also doing that good review for the older population that really wants it clarified. So overall, it was a good article. It gives you a lot to think about. And we should heed his warning that you can't make everything fit in to a 3-point sermon.